Michelle, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story from Barberton.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. We were just officially took on the TIM tools last year. Didn't get a chance to do what we wanted with it because of COVID. But now I still have a plan, and I'm going to share that with you today. A little bit about us, our district, and myself. We're a pre-K 12 public school district. We're about an hour, not quite an hour, southwest of Cleveland. We have 5 buildings, a high school, middle school, 2 elementaries, and a pre-K that we added 2 years ago. And we have about 3,800 students. And I've been fortunate enough to work in the district since 2009. I'm an independent consultant, but I've partnered with this district since 2009. So it's a very good relationship we have, and I'm happy to be there and grateful to be here. So a little bit about our tech journey. In 2014, we had taken on the Google Apps Suite, and we had some devices, but we had this vision that by 2018, we'd go completely one-to-one. And we knew that it would take a little while to get there, and we kind of phased it in like a lot of districts do. We had carts in the classrooms in the high school, then we moved those down to the middle school, and the high school kids started taking them home. And then eventually, we were able to get carts in the elementary schools. And right now, the original plan was for just the high school kids to take them home. But of course, with the COVID problem, all of our kids are taking devices home now. And as far as training the teachers on the professional development for all the technology that we have, and in addition to the Chromebooks and all that, we have a lot of, every room has some kind of an interactive whiteboard, a lot of new different devices that we have that teachers need training on. So we did a base Chromebook training for everybody, and then we did, for several years, did after school in-service PD, and that was fairly successful. Then we rolled that into what was called a tech cohort, and I think I did that for about 5 or 6 years, probably throughout the whole time since we rolled out. And that would be groups. One year I had up to 4 groups of 10 teachers, and we'd meet 5 times a year. And it was just a real safe environment to explore the tools. And I was there to help them, kind of be a guide on their side while they discovered what was possible. And those were really popular, but we've kind of gotten almost everybody who wanted to go through them through those. And one of the main things I do right now, and I think a lot of tech coaches are doing this year especially, is a lot of just-in-time support, kind of triage for this. I got really popular last year when we went remote. Many of our teachers are becoming Google certified educators. It's not a requirement, but we do have a stipend plan that if we have funding, they get a pretty nice stipend to go through the level 1 or level 2 certification program. So that's been motivating them quite a bit to start using technology more. And then in 2016, Google recognized us as a reference district, and that was based on our usage. And we had a nice little showcase of the things we were doing with technology. So we were using it, and there's no doubt that we have a lot of technology. We are definitely using it, but our challenge is, how do we measure that? And we can say, oh yeah, we're using the technology, but I felt like we just didn't have a tool and ensure that it's being implemented in a way that really amplifies the teaching and learning in the classroom. You get those people that say, oh, I use technology every day. Well, that's because they're projecting on a whiteboard, and that's not exactly where we want to go. So, and a lot of it is just them not realizing the whole concept of tech integration. They're not seeing it as more than just a tool, or it's a tool, but how it can impact the learning. So because that's being our challenge, I think it's really important that we step back and look where we are, see where we want to go, and how we're going to get there. And I really think that the solution was, and I've been looking at this for a long time, was these TIM tools. And it's funny because I've looked at this probably, I can't even tell you how many times in the last 4 or 5 years, thinking, oh, we should do this, we should do this. I should introduce this to the district. But when you came out with the tech coaching tool, that's when I got really excited, because I knew that could help me. So I feel like our solution was, for our challenge, is to use the TIM as a roadmap for tech integration, and then use the tools, some of the different tools like the TUPS and the TIM-C and the TIM-O and the TIM-R for gathering data and keeping on track. So I'm just going to go through my kind of thinking. This is kind of my plan and how I got to this decision and what I liked about what I was seeing on your site. Of course, the technology uses perception survey. I've been working with these teachers for 12 years and I feel like they're all my friends. And I've got really the coaching part, the relationships I've got down really well. I think, people trust me and so forth. But I don't know if they're always honest with me as to how they're using technology or how they feel about technology. I can influence anybody to try something. I've gotten pretty good at that, but how do they really feel? And I think getting this kind of data is going to really help me, understand. And I love the questions in the survey about, do you feel supported? How are you getting your current skills? And what types, you guys are familiar with the questions on there, but their whole perception of ed tech. And I think it's going to be very helpful to me, these questions and seeing it aggregated and being able to look at this objectively. It's going to help me plan some of the PD and target some of the people that need help. And I absolutely love this quadrant, and I can't wait to actually implement this and see what we get. I really am kind of sad we didn't get to implement this survey before COVID, because I think the perception probably changed quite a bit because a lot of people were kind of brought out in the open with, they've kind of been, I don't really need to implement this right now, or I don't use tech, I don't care about tech. Now they have to. So I think it's been a good problem. I hate the whole COVID thing, but I think it's if you're looking for a positive, I think it can really help because we have a lot of teachers that are going to go farther because they're doing it now. And they're like, oh, wow, I can do this. What else can I do? So I'm really excited to see what data we get from the TUPS. And then, of course, tech integration matrix. I've always been a fan of this. I've looked at the different frameworks, the SAMR and TPAC, and I just really think this is a real clear way to break it down and to evaluate what you're doing with technology and kind of quantify the effectiveness. Love that we're measuring learning environments against the levels of tech integration, and I I want to present it to the staff that this is a process and everybody has a starting point, and you're going to move along the way. It's okay to be wherever you are, and I'm very excited to roll this out and get everybody up to speed on it. So I'm a big fan of the framework. And I also am a big fan of all the resources you guys have on your site. The videos, I think as I'm doing my coaching, I plan on using a lot of these to help them understand what we're doing. And I took the coaching I teach course, and I thank you for having us do that. That was a great learning the coaching tool. That was a great experience. So I'm glad that you have those trainings available. And then the observation tool, I really would like to work with our administrators, our building administrators, and get them up to speed on the matrix, because I think a lot of times they go into the classrooms and the observation tool. A lot of times they go into the classrooms and they're looking for technology use, but I don't know if because it's been a while since they've been in the classroom, if they really understand what makes a good technology lesson, and that's something that they're looking for, but I don't know if they know how to evaluate it. So I think this is going to help them and guide them as they're doing their walkthroughs and so forth. And I love the data. I think it's great too that you can just print out these reports, and these reports are available to attach to the coaching tool, which I'll be getting to here next. So this is, again, as a tech coach, this is the big one for me. I really love how this is going to guide me. So I'm not just kind of willy-nilly helping people right now. I feel like if you need me, I'm there for you, and we can do this lesson together. What are you thinking? But this is going to help me stay on track and them stay on track, and give us a really good process for tracking what we're doing. And it helps me too as a consultant because, if the district, they've never questioned me, but if they did, I could say, hey, this is where we were, this is where we're going. I think for all of our stakeholders, the value of having these tools is um, really going to show with the reporting and so forth. So I love the coaching, the phases that you have set up. I'm also going for the Google coaching certification, and it's very similar, and it makes a lot of sense where you do the 5 phases and the goal setting. And I think it's good to set goals and get the teachers to set these goals with the good old SMART goals with the you got measurable, actionable. I can't think of all my acronyms there, but relevant and timely. So our SMART goals. And that kind of makes them commit to the process, the coaching cycle, by making them set a goal. And I love that you can attach supporting data, like you could attach an observation form to the record for the coaching cycle. And then as far as planning activities, again, I think this gives me some accountability in working with these teachers and scheduling, well, what needs to be done to make this happen? Maybe I'll come in your class and I'll model the lesson, or we're going to meet at a certain date to discuss, brainstorm ideas and so forth. So I like that I have a place to document and plan activities. And then monitoring progress. This is nothing I do right now. So again, after we get these activities spelled out, this is going to force me to check in with the teachers that I'm working with and make sure that we're both on track. And then recording the outcomes, I think is very important. And again, this is to build that data that we are going to be providing to stakeholders and looking at over time. So, making sure I record these outcomes is going to be very important. And then this, I think, is probably the biggest thing I'm excited about for the coaching cycle, is to actually reflect on it, because I don't think we do that enough. We just move on to the next thing. And I like the idea of the word cycles, because it doesn't end. You keep going and you keep going and keep improving each time you do it. So the reflection piece, I think, is going to be great. I think it's really nice how the TIMC there's a reflection piece not only for the teacher, but for the teacher or the client, how that's wording in the software, and the coach. And I also like about the coaching tool is I can coach myself and put my own goals and keep them on track through the TIMC tool. So I just see a lot of use for it and looking forward to using it. And again, I love the reports and I love how the reflections are where you can do the question based. And I think that I was going through some of the practice, and I think that'll help me because I'm not quite an expert on the matrix yet and judging where people are. Or down the road, when I get better at it, I can do reflections using the matrix on its own. And just like I said with the coaching tool, there's also the TIM-R, and I think this will be good to use independent of the coaching tool for teachers to reflect on their lessons, even if they're not in a coaching cycle. So, I want them to know that they can use this anytime they want. It could be part of a coaching cycle, it could be outside of a coaching cycle, but just so they can, I think it'll be helpful for all of us to be kind of in tune to what we're doing with technology. We're not just using it just for tech's sake. So the plan, and I put it in quotation marks because everything changes, but our goal, in talking to our curriculum director, this is kind of what we're thinking. By the end of the school year, we'll administer the first CUP survey. So we'll just kind of get that out of the way and collect all the data. And then in June, we have a couple weeks before our administrators leave. And I'd like to do a couple training sessions for them so they understand what the matrix is and understand the TIM-O tool. So when they come back in the fall, they know that those things are available. And then every year we have opening PD on PD day. And I'm planning, I'm not sure if this will happen, but what I'd ideally like to do is introduce this on our opening day to the entire teaching staff what the matrix is and show them where they can learn more and so forth. And then throughout the entire school year, I would like to use specifically the Tim O, Tim R, and Tim C tools to keep those coaching cycles and observations and reflections happening all throughout the school year. And then, of course, administer the survey again at the end of the year. I'm really excited I'm always thinking ahead. It's like I can't wait to see what the outcomes are going to be after we've done this for a year. So I'm very, very, very excited about these tools. I wish I could tell you more about them having used them, but just know that I'm a beginner, and I do think we have a good plan in place. I think it's a great tool, and I am glad we have it. And maybe next year I can report how well it went. So if you don't have any questions, or if do you have any questions, that's all I have for the presentation.